The new bunch of rebels are certainly not like the old ones. They don't own berets, for example. They probably have no idea what the Little Red Book is all about. But there is something very strange going on right now in the UK. A bunch of unbelievably well-connected types, the most upper of the upper crust, and people who belong to the royal family's inner circle, have decided they want to start giving interviews. No, it's not because they've just gone rogue, and it's not because the Daily Mail has started to try to pay them off. And it's also not because they had a few too many glasses of wine at dinner. Instead, a few of the types of people who know the royal family very intimately, who know all about Queen Camilla and King Charles because they have social relationships with them, have decided to show up in the media, and in between lots of nice platitudes about their regal buddies, they have slipped in a few shocking barbs about Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So could this be the firm's way of staging something like a fight back against Team Montecito? The most amazing of these came on Friday when a report from The Spectator landed online, and this report claims that only a few weeks before she passed away during a dinner party at Balmoral, the late Queen was talking about Meghan Markle, and she said that Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, was evil. Oh yes, folks, you heard me right, she used the word evil. Now, of course, this was something that we already knew, but anyway, it is shocking to hear that the Queen said it too. I guess they're not beating around the bush anymore. A source spoke with the Spectator's Cara Kennedy saying, "At the drinks before dinner, a small group were talking to the monarch, and she explained that Harry meeting Meghan had become a complete catastrophe, and described her as evil. By this point, we all knew the Queen's health was in decline, and she had months left. She seemed regretful about how things had panned out." The source went on to say, everybody's eyebrows hit the ceiling. It was out of character for the Queen to use such a word as evil to describe Meghan, but she saw straight through her. It was a startling sentence to hear from the most forgiving woman on earth. And it doesn't end there. There are some other very posh voices who have been lobbing other anti-Sussex grenades about the place. This week, Lord Nicholas Soames, who is one of Charles' lifelong buddies and also the grandson of Winston Churchill, gave a radio interview and he talked about Prince Harry's decision to write his Take No Prisoners memoir Spare. He described it as the cruelest behavior. Speaking to Times Radio, he said, "Well, in respect of Prince Harry, I just think it's the most tragic. I mean, I can't put myself in the position where my own son, if he did something like that to me, it would just be the cruelest and one would mind. Of course, the king was very, very sad, tragic. It was a terrible blow." And this is all happening right after one of Queen Camilla's closest friends, Fiona Shelburne, the Marchioness of Lansdowne, spoke on the record about Camilla to the Sunday Times, and that's something we know she only would have done if she got approval from Camilla to do so. They asked the Marchioness about Spare and about Harry's attacks against his stepmother, and she didn't shy away from sharing her reaction and Camilla's reaction too. She said, of course it bothers her, of course it hurts. But she doesn't let it get to her. Her philosophy is always, don't make a thing of it, and it will settle down. Least said, soonest mended. So this really leaves us in an interesting place. In the space of only a few weeks, we have heard from 3 insiders, 2 named and 1 anonymous, and these are all people who have been given entree into the House of Windsor's inner circle. Each gave the king and queen side of things in the Sussex War. So maybe it's sneaky, maybe it's stealthy, maybe it's kind of a guerrilla campaign, but can we really assume this is just a coincidence? I mean, maybe all of these people just wanted to stand up for their friends, 2 people who have had a rough go of it lately, and who are now hampered by the imperial muteness that is part of landing on the throne. To be fair, when Spare came out in January of this year, it wasn't like Buckingham Palace was ever going to be able to release a point-by-point rebuttal, and Charles was going to show up on the palace's official Instagram account to offer a pushback against Harry. Of course, that was impossible. So it looks like Charles and Camilla haven't really had many options. Instead, they kind of have to take the high road, and they just have to hope that all the reporting about their response would paint them as dignified. But based on what we heard from the Marchioness of Lansdowne and what we heard from Lord Soames too, it looks like Harry's book really left an emotional mark on both his father and stepmother. So it looks like the king and queen, even though they're about to be anointed with holy oil in a very sacred moment, they can have their feelings hurt. They can be hurt so much they just want to go and wallow for a little while and not talk about it. If their majesties have been using their friends to get the word out about the toll that Harry's book had on them, then they wouldn't be alone in that. For months now, Tom Sykes in the Daily Beast has had the inside scoop on how Prince William has been feeling about Harry's outburst, with a mysterious friend or friends of the Prince of Wales sharing his anger and that he feels utterly betrayed. For example, in January, a friend told Sykes, "It's impossible to exaggerate the extent of William's contempt for Harry and Meghan now. He absolutely hates them." And only last week, a friend came out and said, "William will never trust Harry again. How could he? The truth is, William absolutely hates Harry now, and will never forgive him for the damage he has done to the family." Whew, I think I'm seeing a little theme here. Now, we should keep a healthy dose of skepticism about the Queen supposedly calling Meghan evil for sure, but I think we can believe the other two. Got a feeling the late Queen was somebody who was very careful with her words, and I don't think she would be referring to Meghan as evil unless she really meant it. What is fascinating, though, about Charles and Camilla's friends all of a sudden breaking the habit of loyal silence is not only what they are doing, but what they're saying and also what they're not saying. I really cannot detect a single note of contrition or suggestion that the king is trying to find a way to mend broken relationships or to come to the negotiating table with his son Harry. Instead, what both of these interviews do is frame the king and queen as victims, people who have suffered at the hands of Harry and Meghan, who have been left hurt by what Harry had to say. At some point on Friday, Harry is going to land in the UK for his quick coronation trip. And one of the biggest mysteries about the events of this weekend is what exactly kind of reception Harry may be facing from the king. Is it going to be cold, or is he going to welcome him with open arms? But on Saturday, while Harry is going to be watching from the sidelines, the Marchioness of Lansdowne will be making history. After that Sunday Times piece came out, she was named as one of the 2 Queen's Companions, so that means she will be attending Camilla during the coronation. Says a lot, doesn't it? And you, what do you think about this news? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments. Don't be afraid to like and share this video with anybody else who would enjoy it. And don't forget to subscribe.